What's something that is obvious or common within your profession, but the general public is unaware of? No. We don't bake the cakes the same day we sell them. Chances are you've never had a fresh baked cake. If you want it to be iced, we have to let it cool off. Oh, and you can't order a custom cake day of. I don't care what it's for. It isn't our fault you can't plan things. L&D nurse here. While I could go with the obvious, labor is nothing like the movies. I'm gonna switch it up. Pregnant women need to drink an ungodly amount of water. Think 16 ounces glasses. Crampy? Drink some water. Baby not moving? Go drink that water. Contractions? Before you rush to the hospital, chug a bunch of water and see if they stop. Literally half of my triage patients are just dehydrated. Most teachers get to a point in their careers where they no longer like kids. Hackers are seldom the actual problem with computer security. Insider threats and the battle against the end user's stupidity make up the vast majority of security breaches. A nuclear reactor going critical doesn't mean it exploded or anything bad. It simply means it is self-sustaining. Addiction issues and substance abuse runs rampant in the food service industry, especially the kitchen. Tech support needs descriptions and preferably an exact error message. We are not psychics. I'm an accountant and people think I'm some type of math wizard. Excel, literally, does all the math for me. Don't go ahead with DIY electrical repairs or installations at home. If you're not qualified, you're going to kill your family one day. Especially don't go making new plug points and connecting high AMPAGE shit to small cables. WTF guys? Top 10 electrical projects you can do yourself. Number 5 will shock you. Professors have no formal training on how to teach, educate. And typically, you can tell. Librarian aka information professional here. The scholarly publishing industry is a massively profitable industry. Check out Elsevier's profit margins. They are holding academic research hostage with paywalls. We are trying to push for a sustainable model of open access publishing where everyone can access the information they need. Information is important and shouldn't be hid behind paywalls, especially when these companies are not the ones securing the grant money, doing the research and writing the damn paper. How unethical speculation artwork is and how it's really only regulated to the artistic profession. One of the bigger issues is that many young designers are lured into these contests. Speculative artwork is when a company holds a contest to design or create artwork in exchange for a prize. Only the winner gets the prize. The rest of the entries who did the same work get nothing. I cannot solicit the local pizza places to make their finest pizzas for me and then choose only one to pay. No spec. I am a massage therapist. Here are some false beliefs about massage therapy. Deep pressure may feel good, but there comes a point where even deeper pressure is not more effective. I don't have to inflict torture-level pain for the therapy to be effective. You should be thinking this hurts but don't stop. Not this is torture. Massage therapy will probably help you if your injury is to soft tissue. If your problem involves joints or nerves, it may not. I tell clients that if there is no improvement in 3 sessions, they should consider a different modality. You may experience some stiffness a few hours or the day after a treatment. This stiffness may be severe and/or prolonged. If it is, you should go back to the same therapist and inform them the post-treatment stiffness was excessive so that they can modify the treatment so it won't happen again. It doesn't mean the therapist is incompetent. It happens to all of us if we are in practice long enough. So here is everything you need to know about massage therapy. Feel better. Many cargo ships turn off their signal in the ocean for weeks and do a lot of shady stuff. When you're food shopping and you change your mind about a chilled, frozen product, but you put it back into an ambient product shelf, it will go straight into the waste when a member of staff finds it. Please don't do that. We can't leave chilled foods out of the chillers for longer than 20 minutes due to food safety laws in the UK, YMMV. And we have no idea how long that steak or chicken has been sitting with those cans of soup. So it gets binned. Food waste. Ask a member of staff to put it back for you. UTIs in seniors cause dementia-like symptoms. 911 is not some magic cloud in the sky that automatically knows where you are or where the emergency is. I need you to tell me where you are. That means you need to know where you are. Yes. Cell phone technology is great, but it doesn't always get it right, or it takes a minute or more to get it. If you call 911 because someone who is not near or with you told you to call, like your dad is having chest pain in Alabama and you are in Oklahoma, calling 911 will get you 911 where you are. I cannot transfer you out of state. You will need the 10-digit non-emergency number to the agency local to the emergency. It is always best if the person having the emergency calls 911. Answer the questions the 911 dispatcher asks. It is not delaying help. The help is on the way as soon as we have an address. Do not hang up until you are told to do so. 1000-degree glass and room temp glass look the same. Put the hot end down facing away from you. I took a glassblowing class in college and there were 2 lessons that my professor constantly pushed. Hot glass looks just like cold glass, and if your hands were too shaky, then head to the campus pub. Grab a beer. Then come back when you've mellowed out. I think both lessons have served me well in life. Apparently nobody knows that you should reset your computer before calling tech support. Cement makes concrete, not the other way around, and it's more complicated than you think it is. I work at an airport. Don't drink the coffee on commercial flights. They don't give us anything to clean the coffee pots. And the water truck is used to fill the plane with potable water. Isn't cleaned as much as it should be. As a very frequent flyer. Thank you. This also helps me justify my gin and tonic habit FTW. Making changes to any mass-produced product takes years of planning, designing, planning, training, planning, testing, and more planning before it can be released to the public. People that want all new, and I mean major brand new stuff. Not just a slightly tweaked version of the old cars or phones or whatever. Right now they've been talking about it for 5 years. Why don't I have 12 in my pocket for $1 yet? Have no comprehension of the massive cost in time, materials, and man-hours. Yes. That's a different metric from time that goes into new product development and has to be recovered within a certain period of time from product launch, otherwise there will be no money for the next big new thing. I am a chemist and it's not all fun experiments with colorful solutions and explosions and flames with rainbow sparkles and cooking and instant results from all our shiny fancy machines. It's more like preparing 50 solutions a day, all of which look alike. Usually like water, and waiting for instruments to complete the analyses for hours, and then trying to make sense from the results while cursing and having a mental breakdown. But still a little math, right? Just because someone works in a hospital and has a hospital ID badge clipped to their shirt does not mean they're a doctor or a nurse. I've lost track of how many times I've had to explain to patients and visitors that I'm not qualified to answer their medical concerns. Dr. Jan Eider? I write smut for a living. And I'm relatively open about it when I meet people. One of the things I've found, and that I've heard from other smutwriters too, is that people really like to talk about what gets them off if they feel they're in a situation where they won't be judged for it. It gives you a weird insight into what people's sex lives are like behind the scenes, specifically with what they're into. You would likely be astonished by how popular cuckolding and crossdressing are as fetishes, and matching up who is into what is basically a crapshoot a lot of the time. All kinds of people like all kinds of things. Mostly, though. The thing I've learned is that pretty much everyone has some sexual thing that they're into, but that they're very embarrassed about. It's usually a lot less weird than they think it is. But occasionally it's very weird. You're all a bunch of dirty little birdies. And that's okay. IT professional here. As dumb as it sounds and as much as everyone hates hearing it, turn it off and turn it back on again works roughly 65% of the time. Most computer problems, including phones, are caused by a temporary glitch or memory error. Restarting eliminates most common problems. Seriously. Before you panic that something is broken, always try this first. Beaming face with smiling eyes. I'm a security guard and we have standard operating procedures for bombs and mysterious packages. A few weeks ago, someone tried to plant a bomb at the high school near my apartment. The school janitor found it and he brought it into the principal's office to show him. People tend to think that lawyers are expensive, so they don't involve one in drafting contracts. When shit inevitably hits the fan, they suddenly need a lawyer and have to pay €10,000 to fix the problem, where a measly €500 would have gotten them an airtight deal if they hired us in the first place to draft that thing. Plus, if we up, we have insurance for that. That covers up to €100 million in damages, and we aren't even a big firm. I'm a computer programmer and programming is nowhere near as glamorous as the movies make it. Code does not make digital noises when it runs. Also, when movies have the programmer, hacker typing extremely fast for an extended period. That only happens when we know what we're doing. Most of my day is really sitting there thinking or debugging, not typing 120 WPM. Spent 25 minutes yesterday looking at the same piece of code with the grand finale of changing a comma to a semicolon. Engineer here, we make it all up as we go along. We run roughshod through physics until we can convince ourselves that something works. If we can't do that, we arrange to have the thing built then destroyed in testing to see what we were missing. There are methods to the madness. We usually build up a reference list of projects we delivered successfully under supervision during our early years. Then we copy-paste a lot, as we deem appropriate. CPR and resuscitation is a lot less effective and a lot more violent than medical movies and TV shows depict. You usually break ribs. And if you do get a person to come back, they don't sit up in the bed coughing, gasping and thanking you. They're usually still unconscious. You just see through machines that they have a stable heart rhythm. You then intubate them, move them to an ICU and hope that you didn't give them brain damage. In public auditing, where a company pays you to audit them, not an IRS personal audit, we have a materiality threshold that's based on revenues, assets, etc. And if you're a very large company, that number could be, say, $450 million. In other words, you can be off $449 million on your financial statements, and we don't care. Also, uncovering fraud is not the purpose of an audit. Yes, thank you. Our purpose is to just make sure their financial disclosures are free from errors and mistakes to protect shareholders if public. And if there is a mistake, we help them fix it. Lawyers write a lot of stuff down that probably wouldn't actually work in court. It's just written down to discourage people from going to court or hiring a lawyer to start a dispute in the first place. Looking at you opening this envelope binds you to all terms and conditions and other such shenanigans.